1, 2, 3.
I just remember them saying we have a band, we just formed a band. I guess I just never even thought about the name until they kind of got stuck with it, honestly. I know Matt sometimes was like, hey, I'd like to just named it Potato. I always like that. Can you imagine if you were sitting here talking to us about a band called Potato? Houndmouth works well, and I'm glad that it's Houndmouth, so. I've known Zach, the bass player, since first grade. Him and I grew up and went to grade school, middle school, high school, and even college.
I didn't start playing music till I was probably 18 or 19 years old, actually. I picked up an acoustic guitar, and a buddy of mine was playing. He's like, you have to start playing guitar. It's so much fun. And so I was like, well, all right. And then you just kind of you just get hooked really, really easily. Wish You Were Here was the first song that I ever learned to play. And that was extremely difficult for your first song. I don't recommend that at all.
Yeah, I started when I was 12. I took a lesson down at Jimmy's when it used to be where Brooklyn Butcher is. And failed math class. My folks took those away. But I'd already gotten like just a little pocket. So I just would put on CDs and big old headphones and play along. Green Day Dookie.
When I was 14, I wanted to hear the sound of my own voice, so I got a 8-track and took my guitar upstairs in my room. I was really secretive about it. And I just hit record on a little cassette and heard myself, and I was like, this sounds nothing like me. And I could never sing for the longest time, and decided one day I was like, I gotta go get voice lessons. So I took a couple weeks with voice lessons and got to the point where I could hold a tune and like push my voice and sing loud into a mic. And then I just started writing songs. That's all I would ever do. Just go in my room, play guitar.
Matt reached out to me on Facebook, and we just started talking and playing together. And I would just always remember him as the guy from New Albany. He was amazing at guitar, and I was like, hell yeah, I want to play with you. You're awesome. I'm like, okay. And so that's kind of how it started out, I guess.
I was like, oh, I'll play some guitar in his acoustic project. And then I get here and he's got a drum kit set up. And I was like, well, I know a guy that could probably play bass. So we called Zach, and he didn't have a bass, of course. We started playing music for fun in like the end of 2011. We had some songs written. Everybody had like songs individually. And we just sit there for hours and rearrange them and work them out. Because it takes hundreds of lines to come up with maybe just one good line, or 100 songs to come up with one good song. So there's always just stuff laying around.
I've always been a fan of Matt's music. I've known him since I was 12. I've known Shane since I was 5. I used to go to Shane's band shows in high school in friends' basements.
I grew up with Chris. He came to our rehearsal, our first practice, and was like, you guys could do this. He was just sitting on the couch. He's like, this is good. We can do this.
My first thought is like, I have to share this with some people, like somebody. I need to like make other people listen to this and like tell me if I'm crazy, but I think this is really good.
Chris said, you guys have to stop putting so much music out on the internet for free. And we said, well, why? Like, what else is there? Like, what else should we do? And he said, well, let's stop putting it out and let's try to get you guys some shows. And so we did that, and it proved to be very successful for us. And so we started following Chris's advice more and more. Like the first song the Penitentiary that we first ever released was, we were just like, hey, let's record that song first because it's the easiest song to play. It's just these 2 chords. And so we recorded that first and put it out, and everybody was like, oh, we love this song. It's like, really? There's so much there. We should have done something else. Like but it was, yeah. So when you least expect it is when something really cool happens most of the time, so.
And by the end of the first week that Penitentiary is up, we had, I don't know, like 8 blog write-ups or something, like on alternative, like cool websites, I guess.
You know, if I closed my eyes and I heard it, I could hear it on a big stage or on TV or in front of thousands of people. And that was kind of like that's what got me really excited about it too, is that I think that they could do that. Like, I can hear this happening. I can see them doing it.
We kind of grew together. Like, he was figuring out all the stuff on the business side while we were figuring out how to make a show and write songs and all that. So it's like the perfect counterpart at the time.
We put in a lot of hard work in the front before we started playing shows, and we really we practiced all the songs that we had, which was only like 10 at the time, and we practiced those because that's all that we had to play. So what are we gonna do for 3 hours? We're gonna play these 10 songs, and we got really tight with them.
We played a couple shows in Louisville, then went to South by Southwest, and that's where we got our record deal for Rough Trade Records.
They went to South by Southwest, and Zach and I were working at the printing company here in New Albany. We both took vacations that week to go to South by Southwest. We took a week of vacation, and we rented an RV, and I drove down. Then they get the offer from the Alabama Shakes and Grace Potter to go tour with them, and I'm like, I'm running out of vacation days here.
I had a lot of confidence in us, I guess. Maybe I was a little confident. I felt good about what we were doing. I wasn't sure what I was going to amount to, but it was a big leap of faith.
The first tour, we opened for a band called Dry the River, and we were in a van and trailer, and we had one hotel room a night.
We get told a lot. It's like, oh, it must be nice just working, an hour a day for the show. And nobody sees that we have to load in all of our gear and set everything up by ourselves.
Load in, sound check, grab a meal, play a show, get back in the van, drive maybe 2 hours to get a head start on the next day so we can get there a little bit early before load in, and then repeat.
You wake up in the next city. You wake up, say in Boston, you're like, whoa, okay, we were just in New York last night.
It's just a matter of no sleep in those days. If you're on a month-long tour and then come home for a week and do it again, and that's like 2 years of that. I feel like we got some flack. People thought we got lucky and just got a deal, and we're just like, bam, okay, you're doing okay now. We're going 8 months out of the year, you're working.
If you don't go all in, then you're never going to get there. It's a huge risk. Everyone was very fortunate to be in a position in their life in Houndmouth to be able to go all in. Like, whether that's just supportive family or supportive community, supportive spouse, just the being in a position to take a risk and jump in the van and be on the road hundreds of days of the year and hope that it works out.
The steps that we've taken are so obscure, but we just seem to, I don't know how we stay afloat, but it just worked out, and we're just so lucky the whole time.
It does get exhausting and it gets tiring, and you feel like you're doing the same thing, but every once in a while something really magical will happen on stage, and you just remember why you do it.
The hour that we work, or whatever everybody says, is the most fun. It's just, playing is so much fun, and when people are responding to it really well, there's no other feeling in the world like it.
It still gets me every time when we play Sedona, and when everyone screams the "So Bright and Pink" part. It's just, I'll never forget. That took me back.
So bright and pink, a Saturday night kind of pink.
And when you see them on these you look at these festival posters, and there's the Band of Horses or the Ray LaMontaignes and all these big time artists that you've went and seen many of times before Houndmouth is ever a thing, and now Houndmouth's right there, right there alongside these other bands. You're like, okay, all right.
I'm living it like it's the last show every time. Like it can go away at any point, and so just kind of relish in it.
Everybody always asks, like, when are you guys moving out to LA? Like, when are you actually gonna make the big jump? And it's like, we're not going anywhere, man. Like, we don't have any plans to. This is where we're gonna, hopefully people can see that you don't have to to make these drastic moves, like move to Nashville not to be a musician, because you don't. You can do it. You can do it anywhere.
One bit of evidence that New Albany is important to the band is that they all refuse to move.
We all grew up right around here, so it's just homey. There's no place in the world like it. It's so different than everything else out there. It's in a really, really good way.
New Albany is like that central focus point for them.
Between New Albany and like just right across the river have just been awesome. Even when you're gone and you know that when you come home, it's like, hey, these people, like they really, really care about what we're doing and they're excited about it. So it makes it really easy to come back.
It's just been kind of an honor to say, yeah, we're from New Albany.
You know, without New Albany, they wouldn't be where they are.
See the light shining on me. I'm coming home.